Let's say you get a reminder that your rent is due, or a call up to play in the biggest game of your life, or you have an appointment that's coming up soon, or you are chosen to give a speech for your class or for your employment or for any group that you're involved in. And as the day gets closer for that action or that appointment, you start panicking, you start getting nervous, you start hyperventilating, you start showing all the signs of stress related to that particular thing that you have to do. All these are signs of worry, and worry is not healthy. We should avoid it at all costs because before we know it, it can actually take over our health. Worry is actually detrimental to our health and the normal functioning of our body. There are many reasons why we should stop worrying and avoid it completely. But it is entirely up to us, that is me and you, to make that decision consciously. Welcome guys, this is Bimlenga, and in this video I'm going to talk about worry and why you should avoid it and possible ways of how to avoid it. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so you get notifications every time a new video comes out. There are many stories of people, even those in high power, that have had their health destroyed due to worry. Worry is unhealthy and unnecessary. You might have a situation where you were worried about something so deeply that you started panicking, you got nervous, maybe palms sweating, not knowing the outcome or what you do. But as soon as that thing passes, you're like, what was I worried about? Worry can have a tight grip on you that you fail to function properly. Worry and negative thoughts can have a toll on your emotional and physical health. It can cause insomnia, headaches, stomach issues such as ulcers, and muscle tension. Worry crowds the mind that it makes it difficult to concentrate at school or at work. So knowing all this, why do we entertain worry and negative thoughts? Wouldn't our lives be much easier, happier, and more satisfied if we did away with worry altogether? I know it is difficult to do away with worry completely, but I believe there are ways that can help us deal with it much more effectively. And over time, we can do away with it completely. And as we go on, just remember, nothing is permanent on this planet of ours. Even that thing that keeps you awake at night, at one point, it will all go away. On my own research, reading books and articles on worry and how we can overcome it, I came across the book of Dale Carnegie, How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. And I think the biggest lesson that I learned from this book is that we tend to focus so much on the future that it crowds us and our judgment that we forget to live in the present. We forget our tasks of today by focusing so much in the future because our energy and our resources are used up focusing on something that is so far away. In Dale Carnegie's own words, he says, we should live in day-tight compartments. Don't stew about the future. Live each day until bedtime. We tend to focus so much into the future that we forget to tackle what we clearly have at hand. Those little tasks that make achieving that same goal in the future achievable. This is like forgetting to live by focusing so heavily on the future. Of course, it's not like we should stop planning. We should keep planning for our future. It is just that as much as we plan for the future, we should break our future goal into small, manageable pieces that we can create into action items that we can tackle daily. So these are the issues that we need to tackle every day, not looking at that big picture, let's say build a rocket ship, instead of breaking it down into the pieces that make up the rocket ship that you can work on daily. You are busy focusing on the whole and not the single pieces. The whole will just crowd your mind, and it might never work because there might be something that you're not focusing on that you might forget to make that big picture work. We have all heard that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. So using this philosophy, it is that one step that you should focus on daily. You can only take one step at a time. Focusing on the 1,000 miles will just crowd your mind and won't help you in achieving that 1,000 miles. What will actually help you is that one step that you take at a single time. So let's imagine you're an athlete. You have a big game coming up, let's say in 4 months. Enough time for you to prepare and be ready. But your mind is focusing on the wrong things and start thinking about the end day, the results of the game, or how strong your opponent might be, or what happens if you lose, the humiliation, what will people say about you, that you're forgetting to actually prepare yourself to get to that goal much more ready than you are now. So day in, day out, your mind is crowded with the game and not what makes the game. In this, I mean the actual basics of the game that you need to improve on in order to win. Of course, you know that in order to win that game, you have to play your best. You have to be ready. You have to be fresh, mind and body. But because you've been focusing on the goal so much that you forget to do all that. So the day of the game comes, you play your game, and I bet you agree with me that your result that you produce will not be the best. It's not maybe even up to what you can possibly produce. This is because you gave worry priority in your life that you forgot to prepare for the game. You forgot as you were worrying about this final day, about this match, that time waits for no one. It slowly moves along whether you're ready for it or you're not. Just like I explained in my previous video. If you haven't seen it, there should be a link somewhere up here or in the description below. Please take some time to watch it and see what I say about time. But please finish this one first. So because you're focusing so much, or rather worried about the game that is coming in months, your performance on the training grounds is subpar. Even at the actual game, your performance is subpar because you did not focus on the game. You are so worried about the unnecessary that you took yourself away from a winning position or from a position of advantage. Even when you're walking onto the pitch or the court to play that game, you wonder and ask yourself, where did time go? You thought you had 4 months to prepare. But you did have the time. You just gave worry priority. You were so focused on the necessary that time passed you by without realizing. Now you pay the price. But we all know that this could have been avoided with the right mental attitude and immunity over worry. Only if you treated each day accordingly and accomplished what you needed to accomplish in that day, that you'd have overcome this and you'd have accomplished much more than you have today. Worries like this come to us in many forms, and we entertain them whilst giving up a position of advantage and our health in doing so. Let's again imagine you're an athlete preparing for a game to come in 4 months. Using this philosophy, you would break down the game in parts that you can work on daily. This would be discovering which area of the game that you're the most weak at. Finding your weakest points will give you a platform to work on them so you can make them actually stronger. By actually keeping yourself busy and working on your weak points, you actually forget to worry, in a sense. You get so focused on improving yourself to be better prepared for the game, to put yourself in a position of advantage, that worry is secondary. You might never even actually have to worry about the game because, your mind is occupied with something much more productive. So you take small bits of the game that you need to improve on and work on them one after the other. With that, you get to improve your overall game. When that day comes, you are unstoppable. And being faced with such situations, not just in sport, but it can be in anything, at school or at home, at work. One, you can ask yourself, what's the worst that can possibly happen? By discovering the worst, if necessary, you prepare yourself to tackle that when it comes. If losing a match is the worst that can happen, so what? You've lost a match, many people have lost matches before. It's not the end of you. You're an athlete, or whatever you might be at that moment. The best you can do is use that time to learn, go back, practice, work on yourself, come back and challenge again. Failure just gives us an opportunity to come back and do better. Once you've discovered that the worst that can happen, you can then work on yourself to prepare for that worst if necessary. This prepares your mind to be strong when faced with that failure or when faced with that worst possible case. And once it comes, you might not be thrown off as much as you think because you've been ready for it. You can stop pulling your hair. There's going to be another opportunity. That is why we go through all these adversaries in life, to learn and to better ourselves. Once you've accepted the worst that can possibly happen, then you can calmly improve upon the worst, which you have already accepted mentally. This would be working on yourself and your game so that the worst is not as humiliating as initially thought. I believe you have also seen a match or even experienced one where you prepared so hard that after losing that match, you're not really mad at yourself. You pat yourself on the back and say, at least I tried. This was the best that I could produce. There's nothing more I could have done at that moment. And my opponent was just better. So it's back to the drawing board. Prepare yourself, practice, so to better prepare yourself for the next opportunity that you might have. It's all about putting yourself in a place of advantage when you're faced with that same opportunity or something similar. This is the same if we applied ourselves daily. We'd be proud of ourselves instead of being worried about possible outcomes that might not be as we think they might be. We would take the result of anything that we do with open arms, knowing that's the best that we could do. Prepare for the future, but don't focus too much on it. It will be tackled when it becomes the present. Be present in the present. Remember, our main business is not to see what lies dimly in the future, but to do what lies clearly in our hands. Plan for the future, avoid worry, and focus on your daily action points. Live in day-tight compartments. Thank you, and see you next time.